here. This is Daniel Hayter.
Woo!
And in all seriousness, we do hope you guys have had a great time. Did you have a good time tonight? But in all seriousness, we're here for one reason and one reason only. And Daniel's going to speak to that right now.
Thank you very much. Hi, how y'all doing? Yeah, originally, when I had been, sorry, Sherry got me all emotional before I got up here. But when I originally had intended on giving this speech, I had done much like everyone else here today, where I was thinking about all the people we were going to thank. And I was thinking about all the people that deserve a shout out, not just for tonight, but for everything that they've done along the way. We are like, let's compare it to a wagon. And we have a rocky road ahead of us, and let's face it, sometimes it's just a matter of pushing and pulling enough to get there. But instead of having our dearest possessions in our back, we have women, men, and children who have suffered terrible abuse and want nothing more than to live the life they deserve that is free of violence. Now I'm very humble standing before you because I'm a product of my environment. There is nothing special that was about me. I was grown up in a house free of violence, where all of my mistakes were met with correction, but in a loving fashion. My parents stayed together, happily married to this day. When my parents and my family weren't around for me, I was blessed enough to have friends that were. And so, as I muddled through my not-so-perfect path, and I hit those rocks and I hit those stumbles, there was always somebody around to catch me and put me back on my feet. And that is what HomeSafe is all about. We catch people, and we put them back on their feet. I had a great history professor, probably my biggest influence, leading to my decision to be an educator. And he taught me that everything is connected. Everything is connected. You can't see the line always, but you have to know that it's there. And it seems like we often live in two worlds. There's the world that's set in front of us that we see all the time. It's filled with sex trafficking. It's filled with drug use. It's filled with domestic assaults, murder, gang violence. And we know this world well because we get blasted with it. We see it in news articles. We watch it on television. We've gotten so attached to this picture that we forget there's a whole nother picture for us. The way the world should be today. Where there is no drug use, and there is no drunk drivers. And every kid has the basic right to grow up in a home where they're met with love and comfort and support, and somebody being there on a daily basis to remind them that they're awesome and they're special and that what they deserve is better than what we've done for them. Amen. And it's easy to get lost and to figure out, well, how do we make the connection between these two pictures? Because that world you described does not line up with mine. These relationships filled with love do not sound like the ones I've been engaged with. These homes filled with loving people that support you and back you up, I've never seen that in my life. And I know that's the story that we read because I talk to these children every day. And I hear the terrible stories. Being raped by uncles and grandparents. Being physically abused for standing up for their parents. Young kids who said, I want nothing to do with this child anymore. I'm going to put a gallon of milk in their fridge, and other than that, I don't want to hear from you. This is the world we swim in. How do we get to the other side? The big connector, if you really want to look into it. When does a young kid start using drugs? What's the first thing they turn to? Probably problems at home. When a young woman turns into a promiscuous young woman, what's the number one thing we go to? Probably a problem at home. But we have this mindset in our heads that we can't go into other people's homes. Those are private. We're not going to interfere with somebody else. So we're going to let those kids get tortured. And we're going to let that woman stay in a relationship that everybody else can see is bad. And nobody is going to have the courage and the responsibility to step up and tell you, hey, you know what? There is a better way to live. And so what do we do about this problem? Because it is big. You start with very, very small blocks. You give somebody a safe place where they can stay, just long enough so they can figure stuff out and get out on their own. You give them a helpline where 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they can get on the phone with somebody that understands where they're coming from. Somebody that's not only willing to listen, but can give them options and open doors that they would have never even seen otherwise. You give them counseling sessions where they have a time where they can sit down and pour their heart out to you for an hour. Not for sympathy, but just to be heard, just to be listened to, just to get that one person that's actually going to care about whether or not when I go home, I'm going to get beat on, or I'm going to get bruised up, or I'm going to be told that I'm stupid and inadequate and not worthy of love. We provide all these things at HomeSafe because it's the only way we know how to fight this fight. But there are no magic beans in this business. We don't have magic pills. We can't just say, well, if we do this, this problem goes away. Or, you know what, if we just had this law, that people wouldn't get beat on anymore. Or if we just had X amount of dollars, that we would have enough money to flush this problem away. This isn't about checks. This isn't about any laws that need to be passed. This isn't about any new service that we're going to add to the line of HomeSafe. This is about a community standing up for itself and saying, we are not going to take this anymore. And yes, money helps. And yes, volunteer hours help. But most importantly, if I leave you with nothing else here tonight, I want to leave you with the idea that it is not enough to just turn away and act like this stuff isn't going on. It needs to be left on your heart. You need to understand that 1 in 3 women in this country goes through these relationships. And for men, we're not off the hook. It's 1 in 6. We grow up with it. We fight with it as adults. We see it strike out at our family members and friends and people that we care about. And as long as we continue to let it slide, and as long as we continue to act like it's not there, and as long as you continue to turn these problems over to 9 extremely overworked people, this problem is not going to change. We have to talk about it. Not only with each other, with our youth. We have to teach people that there's a better way because we've lost track. We've lost sight of what this country is great. Why we are so great. Because everyone in this room, I'm pretty sure, believes in the fact that this world can be a better place than where we found it. And you're all capable. Because there's not a single one of us that's perfect. And we all have baggage. And we all have reasons not to do. We all have that. And we all go through pain. But that doesn't mean that it's all worthless. And that it doesn't add up. And that we can't help. Because everybody that cuts a lawn, everybody that repairs a bed, everybody that shows up and listens to a woman that needs a friend has made a difference. Now tonight is about money. Yes, that's why we threw together the idea. That's why we put fancy tables on. That's why we dressed up in suits and nice clothes. I promise you, this is the nicest I've ever seen HomeSafe people dressed. It might not ever happen again. But this is what we need to get your ear for a minute, then it's worth the 8 months of planning. And I wouldn't hesitate to do it again. Because I know that everybody in this room is going to take away something special from tonight. And it's not the little gift bags we have on the back table. You're going to take away a desire to do something about it. You're going to take away the feeling of knowing that you took one night out of your life and you learned about a problem that if we fix, makes a whole lot of other problems go away real fast. So, I guess just to leave you with this whole night, this HomeSafe idea, it's about exactly what it says, making home safe, making people feel comfortable in their own skin, empowering people to turn that corner in their lives so that when they're in a dark corner, they don't have to turn to strangers for help. They turn to each and every one of you because now you care enough about, and you know enough about, and you know a group that's willing to help you help them. Because it's always better to get help from those that you love and trust already. So thank you for your time. I hope you had a wonderful evening. We're going to bring up Johnny to close the show.